watching Seven Rivers Sports here on KQEG. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, fitness. And today, the spotlight shines bright on UWL men's and women's cross country. As you probably know, one of the top teams in Division III in this country. Well, our guest today, Head Coach Derek Stanley, been with us many, many times, along with Bourland and Libby Brugger. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
We'll start with you, Coach. You've been on here 8 years. You've been on here probably all 8 years, and you took over for some highly successful people. But you were up to the challenge immediately because you kept the train rolling down the tracks. And as I said at the beginning, one of the top programs in the nation, and it continues to be under your leadership.
Yeah, it's been fun. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the groundwork was set before I got here, and that was very nice, and it makes the thing move on just as easily as it was before. So
well,
nice.
But some people take over for a program that's successful, but they don't always meet the expectations and the standards that were set before. Did you feel pressure? And if you did, you were able to take care of that with huge success.
Yeah. Pressure is definitely a word that I would use. I think that when we won the conference championship that first year, I kind of at the meet I went off onto the 9th green on the Cole Acres golf course down at Cuba City, and just took a moment to just take a breath, because there was an immense amount of pressure that was on us, or that I felt like was on me to show that we could be successful. So that was a special moment, and we're actually going back to Cuba City this year for the conference championship, which will be my first time back there for a conference meet since that moment.
Certainly, college coaches are evaluated by their ability to recruit. Mm-hmm. You have certainly handled that in top form. I mean, you've, like the two people you're going to meet in a minute, you've had the ability, the gift to recruit the very best.
It's been fun and kind of more or less, I wouldn't say easy, but easier than maybe some other schools to recruit at UWL. We've had our successes. Recently, I think that we're having our most success, and that is attributed to one particular person, which is our assistant coach, Nathan Petish. He is the main contact for all recruitment efforts for our program. I get involved when it's time for me to get involved, but Coach Petish is the guy that's running the boat on the recruiting for sure.
Well, but it starts at the top, and it starts with recruiting good assistant coaches. Well, Matt Bourland, I mentioned before on camera that I'm a runner too, not at the level of our two guests, but I run through the rapid trails of Marsh and Riverside Park, and I see Matt once in a while, but he never knew who I was until just a few minutes ago, a senior from Neenah. Mm-hmm. And recruitment we talked about with Coach. So obviously you had a gift in multiple sports, and you had choices of where you wanted to go to school.
Yeah, I did. I was thinking about going to a couple different bigger schools, but I left high school knowing that I wanted to run in college, and I knew that lacrosse, when I was looking to come in, we had a pretty young team at the time, but I saw a team that I could hopefully come in and contribute to, but also a team that had a real history of success.
But you had other opportunities. You came to lacrosse and sort of fell in love with it?
Yeah. I think I really picked up on just the team atmosphere and the fact that the team was absolutely the most important thing. Operating as an individual is kind of difficult in college, but when it's made about the team, it's a lot more fun.
Well, we're going to talk about the team culture and so on, certainly in part of this interview, but you were track and field, you swam, you played basketball, cross country, so you did it all.
Yeah.
Plus you went to classes.
Yeah, I did make some time for that. Yeah, my dad played basketball in high school. My brother was a state swimmer, and I came from a family that just did a lot of those different things.
So you knew then that in high school, after you experimented with all these sports, you knew that cross country perhaps was your strongest sport?
Absolutely. Pretty early on, I realized that I was more talented in distance running than I was in basketball. I mean, just the physical attributes I just didn't quite have. But I just love the process of going for a run on a daily basis and it's something I'm really passionate about.
And Libby Brugger, first time I've met her, but I hear about you, I read about you, and I know you have a success too, but it started when you were in high school in West Bend, and talk about those days.
Yeah, in high school I did a lot of sports. Freshman year I did volleyball, basketball, soccer. Sophomore year I did cross country, basketball, track. And then I switched back to soccer, did cross country and soccer the rest of the years.
So you dipped your toe in the water in every single sport, basically?
Yeah.
So you must have been gifted then.
Yeah, I just love playing sports.
Okay. And so when you decided you were going to continue your running, track and field, cross country, and you chose lacrosse.
Yeah, lacrosse was the only school I toured. It was the school that I fell in love with right away. It was just a really active campus, like the size of it. And I actually went to lacrosse to play soccer initially, and after not making the team, I realized I wanted to do track instead.
So an interesting story, I was reading her profile. She didn't make the soccer team, so she diverted and chose track and field and cross country. Was that a difficult time, though, when you did not make that team?
Yeah, it was, because all of my friends from my club team back in West Bend were all playing soccer in college, and it was just kind of discouraging not making the team and seeing them all being able to play soccer in college. But I'm really happy with like how it worked out, because I wouldn't want my college career to be any different than it is.
Well, what do these two athletes, Matt and Libby, coach, what do they bring to the program?
I would say a level of competitiveness that is necessary for success at the college level, for sure. A question, though, is how many of your teammates in high school qualified to a national championship? Just how many, when you talked with them back home? Not many?
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so.
But, yeah, no, they bring a really good sense of what they want to get done from a leadership perspective and how to get it done. And when they relate to our team, I think they have different ways that each of them relate to the teams, but nonetheless, they are able to put in perspective, I think, for some of our younger runners, what's necessary at the college level.
You know, it's common knowledge that UWL has very strict academic requirements, and I, as a graduate myself, I applaud that. As a coach, you're one of your expectations, though, is monitoring grades too, right? How do you do that?
Yeah, we at UWL in our program, we meet with anybody who individually with anybody who comes into the program and maybe is on the lower end of the acceptance scale, so to speak. But as far as like study tables and things like that, we don't spend time doing that. The student athletes that we have are very capable. We have the women's team is always in the top 4 of the entire athletic department as far as our team GPA. Last year we had a 3.54, I think, 3.49 last year. Our men were at 3.41. So we don't struggle with academics, even at a tough university like UWL. But for the individuals that do need a little extra attention, it really gives the coaching staff an opportunity to work individually with them. So that's a very positive thing that we have going on.
Matt, how challenging is that, though? I know the life of an athlete, being a weekend warrior and a former athlete myself. And to time study and disciplining yourself and being a good student, taking difficult classes like you do, and then training to the degree that you do. How challenging is that?
In some ways it is challenging. It can be daunting just to get out of bed, but at the same time, I think the student body has a slightly worse GPA than our student athletes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in some ways, having something to just structure your day around in terms of practice forces you to be on point and just build positive habits, which I've done fairly well.
And Libby, looking at your profile, looking at your major, looking at the classes you take, I mean, it's equally as difficult as Matt.
Yeah, me and Matt actually have a lot of our classes together because we're both marketing majors. So it's actually nice having someone on the team to ask questions about in class, and just having another person that's on the same schedule and has the same priorities
And what about your other classes? I mean, you have a full day, obviously.
Yes. So it's nice having like practice to look forward to at the end of the day because, like Matt said, it helps you structure your day because you really have to take advantage of the small amounts of free time that you do have to do your homework.
Yeah, and I know how challenging that is. Well, we're going to step aside just for a minute when we come back more as we profile a very successful program, UWL Cross Country, right after this.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to 7 River Sports again today. UWL Cross Country Head Coach Derek Stanley and Bourland and Libby Brugger. Well, looking at your schedule, you have 2 meets under the belt, and you're preparing now for Eau Claire, and then you have your own meet in Ettrick and Luther, NC2A meet. You go to Louisville, and then you back to Louisville at the end of the year. Talk about what your expectations are, Coach.
Yeah, the late season meets are the kind of the most important ones in Division III cross country. That late season timeline starts this weekend, so teams that start competing now, those meets start to count toward their championship resume. So we're going to go to Louisville, not this weekend but next weekend, on the first weekend of October, for the pre-national meet to get our runners a look at the national championship course and to run against some higher level competition. The rest of the team will compete at the Blue Gold meet Friday night. And then we'll have our home meet, and that's always an exciting time for us to compete at home, and we have some good competition that finds its way there too. Then we have the Luther dual meet, which is the longest running dual meet in the history of the NCAA, all divisions for cross country. So we're very excited about that one, obviously. And then, then we have conference and regionals and nationals after that.
So talk about expectations, returning athletes, and I presume you're ranked and right up close to being the top in the conference and into the postseason too.
Yeah, I feel like our conference doesn't do rankings, but I feel like our men would be favored to win. The women would be slated for probably second with a strong Eau Claire team returning. So yeah, the objective is always to win the conference championship. So that's what drives our team each year. As far as the national landscape, our men are top 5. I think we might be 6th in the country in the coaches poll, but I think we were top 5 on a different poll. And the women are kind of in that top 20 area, right around 20th. But I think what you'll be surprised about at the end of the year is how high our women might climb. So.
Good. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Some people might, but I wouldn't be. Matt, you've competed since you've been a freshman. I looked at the chart, and you've gotten better every single year. What are your thoughts on the evolution of your running style and your accomplishments, and what you look forward to in this particular closing year for you?
Sure. I've changed my racing style a lot since I was a freshman. Something that we've actually kind of changed pretty strategically throughout the entire team is just running a bit slower early on in races and making sure that you run pretty close to, if not even to, negative splits during a race, making sure that we are at our best in the last 5 or 10 minutes of a race, really finishing hard. That's something that has really benefited me, and I didn't really figure out that strategy worked for me until maybe midway through my sophomore year. But that's a strategy that when we look towards championship season and taking that to a national meet, I think it's going to really pay off for us.
Specifics on that strategy. Are you talking about your splits, or how do you develop that strategy?
Absolutely. So in the past, if I was going to try to go out and run my best race, I might run my fastest mile as my first mile. But Now the object is more to have that fastest mile maybe be your last mile, or have them all within 2 to 3 seconds of each other.
Okay. And how about Libby? You've accomplished a lot, both in track and field and cross country. I'm reading some of the things you've accomplished. Talk about what you expect for both sports this year.
Well, this year is really interesting for cross country because we graduated a lot of our scorers. So it's going to be really fun to see people stepping up this year and seeing like who can bring, or who the top 5 scorers are going to be meet to meet, because in past years it was pretty set that those 5 were going to be the scorers. So we just need to bring give a lot of confidence into our freshmen to show them that they can be up there with us, and I think we could surprise some people this season.
I wouldn't doubt that. How about track and field too?
Well, track and field, we graduated a lot of seniors as well, so just really taking advantage of all the talent in our program and just telling people that they can step up and be in that scoring position.
It's common knowledge that runners, maybe more than any other athletes in other sports, overtrain. Maybe too much running in the off season, a lot of injuries as a result of that. Your thoughts on that, and take us through a typical practice, Coach.
Yeah, the overtraining it's hard in endurance running because nothing ever hits you right away. It always sneaks up on you. Like what you're doing this month will show up next month, you know? So if you're doing too much this month, it won't show up for a little while because your body hasn't hit that breaking point yet. So that's the problem is it sneaks up on you, and then by then it's almost too late, you know? So that's why the overtraining stuff can be so detrimental. For a regular practice, we always meet as a team. We talk about the objective of the practice that day, and then we go and we break off into the groups that we need to break off into. I always try and have either me or the assistant coaches connect with anybody who needs any kind of special practice plan if they're dealing with an injury or if they need less volume or something like that. So we try and address those concerns individually. But more or less, the general theme of the day is just let's get the work in, punch out, and go back to doing the rest of what makes you a great runner, the life.
A lot of people watching the show, parents, young people, and so on, ask the question, how do I become an elite college athlete? What advice would you give, Matt, to somebody that would like to compete at your level?
My biggest advice would just be to learn from other people around you. Use whatever resources you have, your coaching staff, and particularly older teammates who have gone through exactly what you're about to go through and have made a lot of mistakes to just improve what you do on a daily basis and your habits, both mentally and physically. So not only what you do when you're actually on the track or on the cross-country course, but then how you approach it mentally.
We have several granddaughters that are good athletes that compete in multiple sports, and they would like to be a Libby someday. How do they do that?
I guess just finding out what you're passionate about, because if you want to go into do a college sport and you aren't going to give 100% because you're not fully there, it's just going to be a struggle. You need to figure out, like, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to run cross country and I want to go to school. You're going to have to take a hit to your social life maybe, but if that's what you want to do, you have to make those choices.
Good. Up close and personal, rapid fire drill. You ready? Role models in your life.
My soccer coach growing up.
And what did he do to inspire you?
He made us work incredibly hard for 12, 13-year-old girls. I actually didn't get much playing time my first couple of years on our club soccer team, and after working very hard, I made my way up to a captain position the next year because my coach just told me I needed to work harder, and it really paid off.
One of my favorite authors is Tony Dungy, and he talks about athletes being on a platform and owning up to that in terms of accountability and so on, because you've been given a gift, and you're a leader. Describe your leadership style.
My leadership style would have to be leading by example for people, and just giving them the confidence to do it themselves as well.
If you see somebody that's lacking confidence, that's had adversity, how do you pick them up?
I guess just talk to them and just let them know that they have the ability to do it, and it's all inside of them. They just need to believe in themselves.
Matt, you're a leader, no question about it. And I can tell that by talking with you briefly. There are expectations that you have this year, and I'm sure coaches share those with you. How do you demonstrate your leadership skills?
Libby hit it on the head just as far as one, operating as an example day in, day out of practice, showing that you personally are not above doing the little things, literally just from being on time to practice to staying 10 minutes after to roll out and take care of your body a little bit more. But additionally, on the men's side, we've worked at improving those kind of critical conversations, the direct, we made this error, or one individual is making this error, how do we correct it, and how do we move on from that?
So what's next? Graduating, and share with our viewers where Matt's going next.
I have a few different options after graduation, and some of our coaching staff wants me to stick around UWL a little bit longer, but who knows about that. I'd really like to travel overseas just because that's something that I didn't get a chance to do while I was here in college. I didn't get to study abroad or whatnot. I'd love to work there, do an internship, or even just have a full-time position so that I could stay there for more than 3 months.
And then eventually your career would be in what area?
Definitely in marketing, but it might be more so in product development. I'd love to own my own business at some point too. And
then when you retire and you get older, you want to be on a speaker's tour and go through the country and speak about your running experiences?
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I think a lot of people our age would love to write books and have some kind of a voice that's significant enough that other people would want to listen to you.
What's something that would surprise people to know about you?
I collect vinyl records, so I buy a lot of those and listen to those.
You do?
Yeah.
That's pretty unique. So hobbies, what do you do on a day when you don't have practice or your schoolwork's completed?
I love going to the movies, hanging out, cooking with friends, just listen to music and chit-chat.
And Libby graduates, and where's that going to take you?
I'm not entirely sure exactly what I want to do yet, but I do want to work in a sales position, specifically medical sales. I'm in real estate sales and Cutco sales right now, and I don't know exactly what I want to sell, but I know that that's what I want to do.
Well, you have that kind of personality that I'm sure you could sell about anything. Do you have the favorite and toughest opponent that you face?
Yes, definitely UW-Eau Claire. We're always right up against them in the conference and national meet, and just seeing a Eau Claire uniform ahead of us just pushes you to go harder.
And you, Matt?
Toughest opponent, probably North Central. I mean, they're perennial champions for a reason. They have great infrastructure there.
And Coach, if people watching the show, I'm sure they all know the success. What would you say that if something that they would like to know about the program that maybe they don't know in terms of your success or what's ahead?
I guess the thing that makes me the most proud of our program on both the men's teams and the women's team is that we use the word family. It's a word that is used incredibly intentionally, and it's not light in our use of that word. That's probably what people might not realize about how strong we are. The thing that makes us the strength that we are from a women's and men's cross-country side is the culture that we have. The culture that we have is driven on the concept of family.
Yeah, I'm around campus enough. I can validate that by what I see in other sports too. But and you've raised the bar. You continue to have success, and we're wishing you the best. And thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Again, our guests today, Derek Stanley, Matt Bourland, and Libby Brugger. We'll be back with some closing thoughts and film clips on 2 games right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. 2 games on Friday night as the regular season came to an end in Wisconsin with high school football. Let's start at West Salem with the Panthers hosting the Central Red Raiders, a must-win for Central in order to make the playoffs. No scoring until the end of the first as senior Andrew Teff scooped up a Panther fumble and raced 8 yards for the opening score. 6-0 Central after 1. In the second, running back Derek Roberts put West Salem on the board with a 16 seconds left before halftime. Quarterback Johnny Davis connected with Porter Pataski for a 13-yard TD, 12-7 Red Raiders at halftime. Midway through the third, Noah LaFleur connected with David Latos for a Panther score. Central answered another fumble recovery by Andrew Teff from 53 yards out, 18-13 after 3. A dramatic fourth quarter, Zach Hutchinson to David Latos, followed by a 1-yard run by Derek Roberts. Then, a game-winning pass, Davis to Horlitsky, followed by a 2-point run by quarterback Johnny Davis. A great game in West Salem. Final, Red Raiders sneaking by the Panthers 26-25. West Salem ends the regular season 0-9, while Central moves on to level 1 of the playoffs, traveling to Milton on Friday night at 7 p.m. On to Roger Herring Field. The Blue Goals hosting the Luther Knights in week number 9. Aquinas scored first on a TD by Will Cambio. Another Blue Gold score in the second by junior Aiden Lee, 12-0 at halftime. Tom Lee's Blue Goals showed off their offense in the third quarter on 2 Cambio touchdowns and a 26-yard run by Joe Penci, 32-0 at the end of 3. One more score in the fourth, a Lenny Boberg 9-yard run. 102 yards rushing for the Knights with Connor Peterson leading the way with a team-high 32 yards. Luther closes the season at 1-8. Aquinas moves on to the postseason, hosting Platteville on Friday at 7 p.m., and we'll be there to bring you all the action. Final from Roger Herring Field, the Aquinas Blue Goals 39 and the Luther Knights 0. Well, that's it this week here on Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping that you will have an active and a healthy week